Well,
Oh, yes. Hi, how are you? This is the attorney, Arkady Frekhtman. How are you doing?
yeah, but Arcady, how you doing? I'm doing well. Thanks for reaching out, man. Appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, thanks for reaching out to me, and I'm happy to help. So, yeah, tell me about what happened with you. How did you get injured?
So I'm in a premise liability case here in Kings County against my landlord. So pretty much I live in a 300 unit building, and all of the bathrooms came fixed with these wide wall wide 6 by 4 foot mirrors. So one day, I was showering and I had my son who was 3 months old at the time. He was sitting in his infant tub. It doubles like as a seat for the infants. And I was showering and he was just outside the tub. And thankfully, we have I use a translucent shower curtain.
Okay.
So maybe 5 minutes into my shower, I noticed that the mirror is coming off the wall. So it's falling down top forward, peeling off. So this happens like in 3 or 4 seconds. I quickly jump out and I try to catch it. Well, I do catch it with my hands and try to shield him as best I can from, all the shards falling on him. So the mirror breaks into many, many pieces. It's a huge mirror. Um, and then after I realized, I uncover him. He's covered in glass shards. So I'm picking up shards, examining him, making sure he's okay. I noticed he only had, thankfully two lacerations, one above his lip and one on his hand. But me, I had my fingers on my right hand got really lacerated, and I was bleeding profusely. So
Oh
my
my
was
God.
shooting blood everywhere. But after that, I had noticed that the mirror was only held up with adhesive. So there was no screw. There was a bracket on the mirror, but they didn't use any fasteners or screws. So it was just adhesive. So quickly I realized that it was just held up by adhesive and it had fallen down.
Mm-hmm. Right, right. So, and then what was the date of the incident? When did this happen?
This was August 11th of 2021. So it's just been over 4 years.
Okay. And so, and what's happening with the case? Like a lawsuit's been filed and everything, right? Have you had
Yeah, so
depositions?
there's an active lawsuit in Kings County here, and it's recently started to get a little traction because I kind of been nudging them a little bit. But I'm not fully happy with how the progress so far, and I guess we could get into that in a bit. But we had discovered the morning after when the super came to clean up the mirror. Yeah, I told him, oh yeah, that's crazy. He was shocked because he said the scene was horrific. But he said, "Oh, one had fallen 3 weeks ago," and I was like, "What?"
Hmm.
He was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Why are the mirrors not? Why are they no faster?" Then he's like, "I don't know." Basically saying the building knew, but he didn't understand why. And then come to find out after speaking to tenants and other employees, concierges, this was an ongoing issue. So I think 3 or 4 mirrors fell before mine. And the
Mm.
craziest part is that even after reporting this incident to management, a mirror fell after ours, maybe 6 months later.
Mm-hmm.
So even after they were on notice of, how it potentially could have really critically or fatally injured my son, they still never warned anyone or told anyone about it, and mirrors continue to fall.
So that should be a good liability case. Have they taken the deposition of the super? Have they preserved that testimony, what
No,
you just mentioned?
so the latest thing that's happened, they've been pushing off depositions and adjourning them for like a year and a half now.
Oh, so only your deposition has happened so far, right?
Yeah, just mine. And they were scheduled to have their depositions because it was the judge mandated at the compliance conference. He had there's 5 defendants, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
which are composed of owners, the management company, and then they brought in the construction company who I guess installed the mirrors. So they adjourned that, and then I reached out to my lawyer and I was like, oh, because I understand they're going to adjourn, and I'm fine with that. And I was like, oh, did they give you guys a reason why they adjourned it or a date? And they were like, oh no, we don't know. Like we're just going to wait. I'm like, are you guys not going to ask them? And then I also asked them, oh, what kind of discovery have you guys gotten from them? And pretty much they just got a management agreement that they had with I guess the management company, and they provided one insurance policy, and the other 5 defendants have seemingly provided nothing.
So what have they been doing for like, it's been almost 4 years, right?
4 years been gotten that management agreement, one policy,
But that
and
just
really
takes
that's
like a
about it.
week. I mean, the insurance they have to give you automatically. And, if you file a lawsuit,
Yeah.
they appear, I mean, you file a lawsuit, they appear like 30 days later, you go to the preliminary conference. That should have all been done in like the first 2 to 3 months. And 4 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I looked at it in the e law. briefly,
Uh-huh.
because you told me your name and everything. So I looked up on the court's public filings, and it seemed like the lawyer for the defendant, I know one of them, and they do a lot of medical malpractice. They defend doctors. So those lawyers
Uh-huh.
tend to be very like nitpicky, very like anal, anal retentive kind
Yeah.
of lawyers. And what they do is they just like want every authorization. They never agree to depositions. They just do every little technicality. But then your lawyer has to do something about that. He has to file a motion to strike their answer and just get a court order, and just otherwise they're going to delay it even more, because that's
Yeah.
ridiculous. Like 4 years, and the case is the same as if you just filed the lawsuit, a month ago. Yeah, so that's what I would say. They have to fight with them, because otherwise, I know those lawyers. That's their like modus operandi. That's how they operate.
I've asked them, have you guys prepped? Because they did the general objection to discovery, and then I've asked them, oh, have you guys like followed through with them? And it seems like they haven't done anything really.
They have to get insurance. I mean, they have to get insurance. That's basic. I know one of the defendants was let out on summary judgment, but maybe that's because they weren't involved, or they weren't the owner, or something like I saw something like that.
Yeah, they weren't involved. They brought in another building and they got released. Yeah.
Okay, so that building, yeah, was dismissed, or that other defendant. But that's what I would say. They've got to do this, and like the super, they could do the super, because the super is, I mean, I guess if he's employed by one of the defendants, you just ask them to produce the super, and they could also do like a corporate rep, so they could say, hey, these are the topics we want to talk about: how you affix the mirrors, whether you used adhesive, whether you used proper construction practices that are accepted in the industry, of brackets, of putting it in the, I guess, in the joists, and making sure it's secure. You can get an expert on that, like a construction expert, and it's going to cost like 2-3 grand, and then just lay out the topics, and then say, give me a corporate rep from the owner, give me a corporate rep from the construction company, give me a corporate rep from the management company, and just ask them those questions. And then if they say we don't know, then that becomes their official position. If they say we didn't, well, obviously they didn't, because you have the proof, right? You took photos and everything. And then the fact that they knew about it and they didn't fix it, and like 3 or 4 mirrors fell before you, I would try to, because if that super doesn't work there anymore, after 4 years, the super might not be there, and he might be hard to find, right? He might move to a different country or pass away or anything. And then if you don't preserve that, then you won't have that testimony, and that's really, you want to have that testimony locked down.
I've given them many employees. I have concierge who come to me and tell me, "Oh, another mirror fell today, Chris." Like, I've given them an in-depth list, and an in-depth list, and they never really acknowledged it. Like, they never respond. I emailed it on several occasions, and they just never follow up with it. And I was just a bit confused about that.
Yeah, that's weird. That's weird. And then tell me about your injury. What's been your injury? So have you had any type of like?
So at the time, I was uninsured, so I didn't know you could get treatment with like lien-based treatment. And they never reached out to me and, and updated me on that. But I found that out, maybe a year and a half in. So then I went to a hand surgeon, and pretty much, my fingers were lacerated. It was mostly my pinky that took the brunt of it. It required 13 sutures to close all the lacerations. But then now I have permanent nerve damage, which is what the hand specialist told me, the hand surgeon, and she pretty much left it as this. They told me, listen, it was a bad laceration. I think your injury is permanent. She left it open. She was like, we could do surgery, but in my opinion, considering how bad the laceration was, I don't think it would be successful. But she kind of left it open ended as a possibility in the future.
Mm.
So then I went, I got an MRI, an X-ray. I did a nerve test, came up with a little something. I don't remember exactly what it was. And that's about it.
How old are you?
I'm 34 right now, and I was
Oh,
30 when it happened.
yeah. So you're super young, and you had the young child and everything, and no, that should be a good
Yeah.
case. I mean, even without surgery, if you have permanent nerve damage, that could be worth at least, several 100,000. And, Brooklyn is a good venue as well. So yeah, you just have to get that done and put it on the trial calendar, and have them either settle, go to mediation, or if they don't, like, put them in the corner and take them to trial. That's what I would say. If you text me like the name of the attorney that's handling the case for you, I could do like a verdict search on him and send you back the results to let you know, like,
Okay, yeah, I'll text you that,
yeah.
and I could send you some of the photos. They're graphic, because there's a lot of blood involved. My son, but I feel like it adds a lot of emotional like value to the case. We also had they did an inspection because the building was built in 2017. It's a new building. It's part of this big project called and we had an email because when the building had opened up, I guess from speaking to one of the concierges, what my girlfriend is really close with, she had told us that, you know, shortly after the building opened, the first one had fallen, and then they brought back the construction company to come and do an inspection. So we had email proof of that as evidence that they knew back then. And even, you know, they came in, they did the inspection, they looked at the mirror, the guy looked and walked out and said everything's okay. They never warned us and said it was dangerous. You know, to me, it just came across as a normal inspection for a new building. And none of the tenants ever had any reason to believe there was anything wrong with the mirrors. But even after that, you know, mirrors fell. Like I said, one fell 3 weeks before mine. It's a huge 80-pound mirror.
You can't leave it with just adhesive, especially in a bathroom,
Yeah,
because you know you have the heat coming from like the shower and over and
exactly.
over again. It's gonna like the glue is gonna get weaker, and you have to put the studs in the wall and keep it secure. I think you can get a basic construction expert or just a construction somebody who experienced in construction to explain that. That's pretty simple. So yeah, once you show the liability and the notice, the fact that they knew of prior mirrors falling, and then you know, it sounds like almost like punitive that they knew about it, but they didn't go and fix it. They were just waiting
Exactly.
for other mirrors to
And
fall.
that's what I was thinking because mirrors fell even after. And I'm like, you knew this could have killed my son, and you still didn't warn anyone. You still didn't fix it, and then they ended up selling the building less than a year later. That's another thing. They sold the building for $150 million less than a year after, and I was just like, wow, like okay.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. So yeah, let me know. See how it goes. But if it gets stuck, you know, I could do the search on that lawyer, whoever's handling,
Yeah,
because I've heard of the firm that you have, but I don't know like which lawyer is handling your case specifically. So I could see if he has any like verdicts and settlements, and then, you know, but if you're not happy, if they're stuck, you know, if you needed my help, just let me know. I could help you with the case too. I think that's a good case. We could probably get it fast tracked.
thanks so much, Arcadia. I appreciate it. Yeah, so I'll text you those details, and you'll give me your opinion on that, and I appreciate it, man.
Okay, absolutely. I hope you feel better. All the best, and yeah, we'll speak soon. We'll keep in touch. Absolutely.
Thanks so much, Arcadia. Take care.
Okay, bye-bye. So you could see there, he has a good case. This is a case where he's not at fault. He was taking a shower. He has this translucent shower curtain or shower, you know, glass where he sees his son in danger and the mirror is slowly falling. So what is he going to do? As a father, 30 years old, he runs out of the shower, he grabs the mirror. That's the only thing any human being would do, right? Protect his son. And in the process, he has a severe laceration to his hand, his pinky, he needs sutures. Now he has permanent nerve damage. It can't be repaired. Even the doctor's saying surgery will not help. So, you know, that's a good case, but it's been stuck in this, you know, no man's land, basically stuck in limbo because it should have been litigated more aggressively. It should have been like a lawsuit was filed back in 2021 or 2022 when it happened. But then, you know, you wait just like a few months, and if they're not giving you depositions, you file a motion, you get depositions of the proper parties, you preserve testimony. Maybe you have investigators get affidavits. If you can't do depositions, if a defendant is a party, but you know, you do whatever you can. But here they're just like, for whatever reason, because I know these defense firms, some of them like to delay, and this is one of the tactics that they use, especially these firms that do more complex litigation like medical malpractice. And so because of that, he's just being stonewalled, but like for that long, for 4 years, and all he's had is his deposition. But what about the deposition of any defendant? And it's almost like the defendants are getting a bite at the apple. They're getting to depose the injury victim, but then the injury victim's doesn't have any evidence, right? He just has that he heard the super say that, but there's no preservation of testimony via deposition. There's no affidavit. There's no documents that were obtained. They don't even have insurance, which is crazy because that's supposed to be automatic. So he needs a more aggressive attorney to really step in there and kick some butt. Okay, everyone, I hope this was helpful, but this could also apply in other cases. And this is one of the ways that we analyze cases when we do these free consultations. Okay, please like and subscribe to our channel. Let us know what questions you have. We are here for you. Our goal is helping serious injury victims and families. Bye-bye, everyone.